Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today here at Storytime. I'm so glad that you and I could take the time to read stories specifically from the Bible that help us grow closer to the Lord as we learn more about his characteristics, as we dive into lovely stories. This one in particular today is going to be specifically and explicitly from the Bible, the famous story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the three friends of Daniel. Daniel's not present, but these are the three close friends here that all in unity make a decision, and it's a hard decision, but it was a right decision. So much so that you'll see here in the end that the king's perspective on things completely flips around into a revelation, if you will, of what is the truth and what is right here, and what he needs to be fixed immediately. And he praises God, praise God for that. So I can't wait that we get to dive into here the story from Daniel 3, and I'm going to read a few passages. It's going to be here at verse 28 again from Daniel 3 that I'm going to read so that we can reflect on the story of these buddies. So I'm going to start right now. Here we go. All right, then Nebuchadnezzar, and that is the king here that wanted to place a statue of himself because he just came to his mind to do that. Well, he spoke here, it says in verse 28, and said, "Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who hath sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word and yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any God except their own God." They are so convicted, I'm not doing this, and it came to pass that they did not do it. And this is Nebuchadnezzar now actually acknowledging and recognizing this thing that they have done, because obviously they have a true God here, the true one and only God. In verse 29, "Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God of who Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be." It says here, wow, that's crazy. "Cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort." All right. And we know that they were promoted and while they were in Babylon. So yes, something as crazy as that can happen as a punishment here. It says if you were to do such a thing, God does not want that to happen, and he has spoken it here even through King Nebuchadnezzar. So I am going to get started with our Archbook series, this book, Three Men Who Walked in Fire. All right, so we have read here other books from the Archbook series, and I can't wait here as we dive into this one. So here is the first page. "One day in old Jerusalem, three little boys ran fast. They hid and watched while soldiers armed with swords and spears marched past. Burn down the houses, steal the gold. They heard the soldiers shout. The boys crouched very quietly, not daring to look out." They're so scared, they look frightened, as if invaders literally came into their home that they've known forever. What is happening? This is a time of war, a time of capture, a time of transition. Okay, let's see what's going to happen here on the next page. "But soon a soldier saw them three. He quickly caught all three. 'You boys will make good slaves,' he said. 'I'll take you home with me.'" And here is that soldier that plans on taking our main characters. This is such a horrific sight, but here it is. They're staying brave, it seems like. I mean, it is what it is. This is the time of capture, everyone, of Jerusalem, of the city, and people who's been there for pretty much generations and generations. And what a sight, right? "Though they were slaves for many years, the boys did not despair. 'Dear God, we know you're by our side,' they said each day in prayer." Many years, many times, but God was always with them. Never did he leave them, not a second. So they definitely had hope, and that hope was what they were clinging to, and that's hope really everlasting that we should all hold on to. All right, let's follow their example. The oldest was the smartest one. They called him Wise Shadrach. The youngest was the strongest one. No one could beat Meshach. The third one was like the best of all. So he was very much popular and liked no matter where he went. Abednego brought fun and grins and laughing merriment. And that's all three of them here on the right side, kind of embracing their characteristics. All right, you'll have the smartest and the strongest pulling something. Here is Abednego grinning away. And one day the king of this strange land was feeling very proud. He thought about how great he was until he said aloud, "There's really nothing in the world I cannot do or say. Why, I could even make a god. I'll do it right away." Wow, he'll make a god. Literally, it's a statue of himself that this god he is thinking of. Okay, so basically he's just thinking about creating himself in the form of a statue. And that's all there is to it, a fancy statue, right? People are going to be looking at it, remembering him. I mean, I think people know who the king is for the most part, at least, but yet you'll still want this statue to be this huge momentum. It's like, especially in a busy part of the Babylon, or maybe, I mean, hey, it's like people will continually have him in mind. It seems like that's what he wants to do. He'll make it big. He'll make it stand out. All right. "Go out," the king called to his men, "and gather all the gold." So he's using gold. The soldiers quickly hurried off to do as they were told. One morning near the city walls, the people saw a sight so horrible to look upon, it made them shake with fright. That this golden statue has started to emerge. They're starting to see this, like it might be blocking the sun, it might be blocking, it might be creating a lot of shade, creating darkness, creating this mood, this ambience that not a lot of people are used to nor necessarily like. And an ugly statue made of gold stood high above the town. Its monstrous mouth was open wide. Its evil eyes glared down. All right, so you'll see, I guess, strong eyes on this thing in a not so good way. It's just, they say it's ugly. They say it's not pleasing to the eyes nor to the heart here as the eyes see it. People are maybe just kind of like reacting to it on this side. I don't know if it's so good of a reaction here, but definitely reacting to it. And as we turn to the next page, it says, "Then messengers rode everywhere to read the king's new law. Hear ye, hear ye," they cried aloud to everyone they saw. "Whenever people in this land hear music being played, they must fall down and pray before the god or king has made, or else the king will have you thrown into a fiery pen." These words sent shivers up the spines of even bravest men. So there will be people on donkeys. They'll have this announcement. They'll have horns, trumpets, maybe all kinds of instruments, because it says song, it says music. Once they hear this music, they must stop, right? Bow down and pray to this God. I don't know what the purpose of it is for, but it is commanded just because the king wanted that to happen. It seems, it doesn't seem like it's effective or productive in terms of strengthening your prayer life, because that's something you can do in your own convenience anytime and without cease, as it says here in the Bible.